Hello. Today I'm going to be reviewing with you a hip stability workout. This hip stability workout is going to be a quick one. You can do this at home very easily in your living room, or you can take this workout with you to your gym. All you're going to need for this workout is going to be a foam roller or some kind of soft tissue device and a band. We're going to start by foam rolling out your hips, your quads, your upper back, and your IT bands. Your hips are going to be first. So sitting on your foam roller, I'm going to have you cross your right ankle to your right knee and place your right hand on the ground. Rolling over the soft tissue in your hip, find the spots that speak to you. And when you do, find that spot, stay on it for a couple breaths, and then move on. We'll work the right hip, and then we'll switch to the other side and work the opposite. The second spot we're going to be rolling is the IT band, which runs along the side of the leg. So lying on your right hip, we're going to roll the tissue from the hip to just above the knee. And again, finding the spots that speak to you, stopping on the spot that's sore or tight or where you feel a knot, and breathe into that space. This is going to help open up the hips and relieve any tension that may be pulling on your knees from the IT band being tight. The third place I'm going to have you roll out is going to be the tops of your thighs. So from the hip to the top of the knee, we're going to be rolling out the quadriceps. So again, finding the spots that are sore or tight, stopping on those spots, and breathing. You can roll both quads at the same time, like what I'm doing right now, or to increase the intensity, you can stack your legs and roll one at a time. Your choice. The last spot that I'm going to have you roll out, which is my favorite spot, is the upper back. So if you're wearing a hoodie or have a ponytail, it's really important that you pull that in. So hands behind your head, and you can hold the ponytail or the hood with your hands. We're going to roll from your upper back to just below the bra line. Giving yourself support with your hands. The other thing that we can do here is we can give our elbows a hug or give ourselves a nice big hug around the shoulders and roll, which opens up and separates that area and exposes the deeper musculature. When you're done rolling, the last thing that you can do is get some extension through your back. So again, supporting your head with your hands. We can gently exhale and lean back over the roller and open up the elbows, keeping your hips on the ground for a nice upper thoracic spine or T-spine stretch. And that's going to be your foam rolling routine. Next up is belly breathing. Belly breathing is going to be done while lying on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. And I'm going to have your hands resting on your belly. As you belly breathe, I want you to first think about having a nice neutral spine. So hips will be tucked, spine will be nice and neutral to the ground. And as you inhale, feel the breath fill up your hands and your belly expand. As you exhale, feel your belly contract and your belly move away from your hands toward the floor. The last warm-up that we're going to be doing before we start the booty exercises themselves is going to be the half kneeling hip flexor stretch. So in the half kneeling position, we're going to start with that right knee down. What I want you to focus on here is neutralizing your lower back, so having a nice neutral spine, and you can glide into that stretch until you feel the stretch on the front of the hip. If you want to increase this stretch, we can increase it by reaching our arms to the ceiling. But as we reach the arms, make sure that our ribs stay down. Holding here, breathing into the belly. and then we'll switch sides and do the same thing on the other side. As we begin the hip stability workout, it's important to note that there are 4 different color bands that you could potentially be using for this workout, or potentially no band at all. So I'm using a green band, which is going to be the band that's right in the middle. There's a yellow band that's lighter weight than this, and then there's a blue and a black, which are both heavier than this. So I recommend, if you've never done this workout before, starting out with no band the first time is actually quite a great idea so that you can get the movements down, and then gradually easing yourself into using the band only if you're able to maintain good form. We're going to have 8 exercises today, and each of our 8 exercises will be done for 8 repetitions. It's really important to note that these 8 repetitions should not be treated like a race. They should be done nice and slowly with control and pausing when you feel the glutes engaging. Because the key to this workout is that it's going to be helping stabilize your hips, which is going to help minimize knee pain, minimize hip pain, and minimize lower back pain. The first exercise is going to be the hip bridge hold. So in a hip bridge position, lying on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor and about shoulder distance apart, we're going to be holding the top of a hip bridge and breathing for 8 breaths. So palms up, shoulder blades engaged underneath of you. We're going to bridge the hips up, and we're going to hold this bridge position for 8 breaths. Breathing into the belly and exhaling, that's 1, and we'll hold here for 8. When you've finished your 8th breath, we're going to roll back down to the ground and prepare for our next exercise. After you complete your hip bridge hold, we're going to be going into hip bridges. From that same starting position, band above the knees, feet shoulder distance apart, and about fingertip distance away, palms up, shoulder blades engaged. We will bridge the hips up to the ceiling, hold here for a moment or 2, and then bring it back down to the ground while maintaining a neutral spine. Bridge up through your heels, feeling your glutes engaged underneath of you, and bring it back down to the ground, completing 8 repetitions. Side lying clamshells are our next exercise. These are one of the most important exercises, in my opinion, for hip stability, but also often one of the most misdone exercises. So if alignment seems to be an issue for you, the easiest way to know that you are in proper alignment for a clamshell is to get yourself positioned with your feet against the wall and your hips against the wall and your shoulder against the wall, and that you'll know then that you are in proper alignment. So with that said, keeping your feet together, keeping your hip pointed towards the ceiling, we're going to be lifting the knee and feeling the engagement coming from the hip. Lowering that knee back down to meet the other. Reminder, feet do stay together. Lift the knee, feel the glute engaging, and bring that back down. You'll be doing 8 repetitions on one side, and then we'll switch over and do 8 repetitions. Again, feet together, hip pointed to the ceiling, so that top knee should feel just slightly pushed forward over top of the bottom knee. And then lift, feeling the engagement coming from the glute. If you feel your engagement coming from your lower back or from the front of the hip flexor, then make sure that you're using a wall for your alignment. Next up, we have cat-cow stretch. Cat-cow stretch is going to be done from 6-point position. So we'll be on our hands, our knees, and our toes. When in cat-cow position, we're going to be working with your breath. So as we arch your back to the ceiling and drop your head, we're going to be exhaling out all of our air. And as we reverse the movement, sinking the belly, lifting the head, we're going to be inhaling. Working on full range of motion. in each repetition. When you're done with 8, you'll bring your spine back to neutral, and we will prepare for tall kneeling wall slides. Tall kneeling wall slides are an exercise that we're going to do to help open up the front side of our chest, engage the upper back, and allow you to open up. So from the tall kneeling position, you can keep your band on your knees. We're going to have arms open to a W, thumbs pointing behind you, and we're going to raise the arms up, squeezing shoulder blades together, and then bring the elbows down behind you, squeezing shoulder blades behind you. Reach up and stretch, pull the elbows down and squeeze. And that is going to be the tall kneeling wall slide. Hydrants will be done from the 6-point position. So hands, knees, and toes. If hydrants prove to be challenging for you with the band, this may be an exercise where you want to take the band off in order to not allow your body to compensate through the movement. But if you feel good in this movement with the band on and you can feel it engaging from your glute, then go ahead and keep that band on. So from 6-point position, we're going to focus on keeping a nice flat back and work on keeping our hips nice and flat. I want you to think about sweeping your knee out and away from your body as far as you can before you lift it off the ground. Sweeping that knee out and away, and then bring it back down to meet the other. Sweeping that knee out and away, and bringing it back down to meet the other. You'll do 8 repetitions on one side and then on the other. Lateral band walks are going to be next and should be done with the band typically starting out above the knees. When we do a lateral band walk, the idea is to make sure that we are able to engage from our glutes. So if you start doing the lateral band walks and you feel these in your knees, we're going to eliminate this exercise until we get your hips a little bit more stable. So starting with the band above your knees, getting into what I would call an athletic ready position, which just looks like a semi-squat position. We're going to be pushing from the hip and the knee, stepping out to the side, and then bringing that foot in just as far as we stepped out. Stepping out to the side and bringing that other foot back in. We'll be doing 8 repetitions in one direction, 8 repetitions back in the other direction. And that is a lateral band walk. Stay nice and smooth. Don't let yourself bounce up and down through it. So starting with your feet about shoulder distance apart, banded knees, so we're forced to press those knees out and away. I want you to scoot to the edge of your chair, and if you're in a rolling chair like what I am, make sure that your chair is pinned against the wall. So from here, sitting at the edge of my chair, I'm going to lean forward from my hip, stand all the way up out of my squat, and then press my knees out as I sit my hips back to the seat. Press out and stand, and then press out as you sit. You'll be doing 8 repetitions of the squat with the knees banded, and that will be your last and final exercise. If you'd like a bit of a bonus aspect to your workout or want to maximize the amount of work that you get on your hips and your booty today, I'm going to encourage you to do this final finisher. The finisher is going to be 2 things. It's going to be hip bridges and a hip bridge hold. We're going to be starting out with 8 repetitions of each, and it looks like this. We'll start out with 8 banded knee hip bridges. So in the hip bridge position, palms up. We're going to bridge for 8 repetitions. And then when you get done with 8 bridges, I have 2 more here, you will hold at the top of your bridge for 8 counts. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you'll continue with 7. You'll bridge for 7, and then you would hold for 7 counts. You would go down the line 6 and 6, 5 and 5, 4 and 4, 3 and 3, 2 and 2, and you guessed it, 1 and 1 for a total of 8 sets. And that, my friend, will provide you with a maximum booty burn and potentially a little bit of a heart rate increase as well. So that is what we call our finisher, and that is the finisher for this booty workout. Enjoy!